Hi everyone, this is meowmurai. Let's check out Enelia, Dawn of Madness, running on PC. Now, officially, this is early access, so only the first episode is available. But when it's ready for additional episodes, then a season pass will be available, and that'll essentially be purchasing the full game. So let's check it out. Flashing lights and loud noises. That's my neighborhood. Inside and outside. Chapter 1. Secrets of Nauris. Episode 1. Rising Hope. Her voice penetrates through all living and non-living beings. Her voice inspires and uplifts our souls. Her voice accompanies us in our dreams and our life. But sometimes the voice fades away. That is when it awakes. Madness.
Город Наурис очень красив накануне праздника. Повсюду можно встретить радостных жителей. Они заканчивают украшать улицы и свои дома. Сегодня ночью состоится важное событие, которое бывает лишь раз в жизни каждого. Момент, когда из ребенка ты становишься взрослым членом общины. Все дети мечтают, ждут и представляют себе, как это будет. Все, кроме тех, кто знает, какое зло может скрываться за нарядной мишурой. Я видела его своими глазами, и теперь праздник вызывает лишь страх.
As always, this place is filled with light, laughter, and children's voices. Enelia was happy here at the shelter of leaves. It's a pity that things are different now. I'll only stay for a minute. I need to find my sketchbook and hurry to the lakeside. Wait. I need to hurry to the lake. Someone's waiting for me, Enelia said. Enelia looks around the spacious hall, but instead of the lost sketchbook, a small, fluffy creature catches her eye. A Mytherium, her friend.
Шио, вот ты где. Ты мой хороший.
Enelia scratches the happy animal behind his ear. Her fingers run through his soft fur. It feels so airy by touch, almost like you're touching weightless, soft fluff. So pleasant and relaxing. But even her favorite pet can't relieve heavy thoughts swarming inside her head right now. They flare up in unsettling sparks and gather in buzzing swarms, filling her entire head, leaving no room for good mood or joy. The annoying buzzing intensifies, throbbing with pain in her temples. It whispers, repeating over and over, she must act. Act before it's too late.
Все в порядке, Шио. Просто не выспалась. Ты не видел мой альбом? Хотя, конечно, не видел. Тебя вечно нет рядом, когда нужно.
Разгони туман сомнений, и верная тропа откроется твоему взору. Только попроси, и я помогу тебе во всем разобраться.
О, великий Шио, озари меня светом своей мудрости.
Возможно, твой альбом отыщется в шкафу?
Alright. Of course, and to make it more effective, I can use my vibrees. Vibrees, special receptors that help Zani sense the energy of every living being and stay in harmony with it. Every child is taught how to use them since their birth, so they could explore the astral world and see whatever is hidden from the naked eye. But Enelia is no longer a child, and by the time she passes her ritual, she has to master her vibrees perfectly. There are many different things in the closet, from toys and crafts to caregivers' books. Children living at the Shelter of Leaves always pile things on these shelves. Very few people actually listen to Zuli, the head of the shelter, who stands up for cleanliness and order. Enelia looks in the closet, but does not find her sketchbook there. How is it possible? I couldn't have left it anywhere else. Maybe one of the younglings took it, Enelia said.
Если эти
Or Enelia
мелкие
thought.
балбесы опять утащили мой альбом, я им лишние уши откручу.
Не думаю, что Зули одобрит откручивание ушей. Попробуй сначала поискать его в этой комнате.
It's much easier to go straight to Zuli. If she can't help me find the sketchbook, she'll at least scold the little burglars, Enelia thought. Enelia lingers in uncertainty, drawing off the moment when she'll inevitably have to speak to all-knowing Zuli about her lost thing. This is the altar of Holy Tenega, beautiful divine patroness of the settlement. The settlement follows 3 ultimate truths. Be in harmony with the voice of the goddess. Your gifts are the goddess's gifts. The great goddess unites, Driwi. The children of the shelter leave small offerings to the goddess to gain her support before a difficult lesson, or to ask her to take pity on them for their mischief. Not a day goes by without prayers addressed to her. Everyone knows them by heart from childhood. Of course, no one would dare hide Enelia's sketchbook on the sacred altar. It seems bothering Zuli about the sketchbook is necessary after all. Is there anything else I can look at? A strange symbol. According to Zuli, it was inscribed here a long time ago by one of the great artists. Symbols like this can be found everywhere in Nauris. They were all created by different artists and for different purposes, but the kids like to whisper that the unlucky one who manages to find all the symbols will gain incredible knowledge. Many have tried, but none have ever succeeded. The legend remains a legend, until proven otherwise, of course. Enelia takes a couple of hesitant steps towards the staircase leading to the office door. She freezes in uncertainty, wondering if she should bother the head of the shelter for such trivial matters.
Не бойся, Энелия.
Я и не боюсь. С чего бы вдруг? Я же ни в чем не виновата.
Как бы Зули не узнала о том, что ты путаешься с тем мальчишкой-друидом.
Тише, глупый мифириум.
Все равно мой язык не понимает никто из детей, кроме тебя.
Если другие дети не умеют распознавать язык мифириумов, это еще не значит, что некоторые взрослые тоже на это не способны. Нас все равно могут подслушать.
Ветер мудрости, да тебе бы в голову несносное дитя.
With 3 swift leaps, Chio climbs onto Enelia's shoulders and hides beneath her cloak as always. Feeling a slight uneasiness that arose after her pet's words, Enelia enters Zuli's office. The office of the head of the Shelter of Leaves is always clean and tidy. Zuli keeps a strict eye on her workplace and doesn't allow herself to decorate it with any silly knickknacks, apart from her favorite paintings and...
Это еще что такое? Какая гадость.
Ты что-то хотела, Энелия?
Откуда у вас эта кошмарная скульптура? Зачем вы ее сюда принесли?
Понятно. Очевидно, я упустила момент, когда это место стало твоим кабинетом. Может, тебе еще что-нибудь не нравится?
Простите, Зули. Вообще-то я зашла по делу.
По делу, значит? Тогда я надеюсь, это как-то связано с ритуалом, на который в этом году ты явишься без опозданий. И передай Келине, что покрывать себя бесполезно. Вам обеим не лишним будет посмотреть внимательнее на церемонию в этот раз. Все-таки не мне участвовать в ней через год.
Мы обязательно придем, Зули, мы знаем. Но я хотела бы поговорить вовсе не о ритуале.
Энелия, ты мое наказание. Мне некогда болтать с тобой о всяких пустяках.
Shio pokes his nose out from under Enelia's cloak for a brief moment, as if to sniff and scout the surroundings.
Нам нужно как-то уговорить ее, Энелия. Будь осторожна и тщательно подбирай слова, иначе будут последствия.
No one works harder than you. Forgive me. You never have the time. Forgive me?
Я знаю, что иногда могу быть надоедливой, но...
Но когда тебе что-то сильно нужно, то для тебя это нормально. Чем я могу помочь, Энелия?
Мой альбом для рисования пропал. Вы случайно не знаете, где он?
Так это был твой альбом? Я нашла его на полу у входа. Малышня очень уж хотела в нем порисовать. Вот, возьми. И не отвлекай меня больше.
After handing Enelia the sketchbook, Zuli returns to her desk and immediately dives into her usual chores. There's never a shortage of them at the shelter. It's not just a sketchbook for Enelia. Her whole life is in it. She writes down every interesting and important thing that happens to her, about the Drew, the shelter, her friends, and even Mytheriums. Enelia quickly looks through the pages and sighs in relief. Everything important seems to be in place. Enelia, a young Zani who had not gone through the ritual yet, she and her friend Kalina have been raised in all traditions in the shelter of leaves and under the guidance of her mentor Zuli. Enelia is torn between her loyalty to the rules of the community and her friendship with Rise, a druid apprentice who dreams of traveling beyond the Drew.
С этой статуей что-то не то.
Давай здесь немного осмотримся.
A strange sculpture sticks out so obviously that Enelia can hardly contain her curiosity. Examine. Enelia looks at the sculpture and feels an unstoppable urge to touch it. Feel the creepy figure that seems to consume the light around it. Eager to pull everyone into its clinging embrace, drag them into the infinite void. Forever. The girl feels that something unknown is pulsing inside the sculpture. As if the sculpture is alive and can think. And it can. It calls Enelia.
Совсем рядом. В пределах древа. Легкий способ бежать. Рейс не знает его. Найди тропу. Слушай голос. Энелия.
Listen to the voice, the path.
Энелия. Энелия, не делай этого.
Mytherium's voice sobers Enelia. She freezes with her hand raised and her finger reaching out, almost touching the sculpture. What? Take me. What was that? The strange obsession passes and Enelia looks around. Zuli seems to have noticed absolutely nothing. How on earth could she have dared to put something so horrible in her office? And most importantly, for what purpose? It's important for Zuli to be an example for her pupils, and of course not without the altar of Holy Tanaria. There are fewer offerings, and the candle flowers look fresh. One may wonder if she truly prays 10 times a day, as the elders advise. The altar's presence surprisingly soothes and reassures Enelia, sweeping all the anxiety out of her head. This collection of paintings is a source of pride for Zuli. They were all painted by Boone, one of her favorite pupils. He graduated from the shelter 2 years ago and has become an artist who celebrates love of Holy Tanaria through his creations. His painting workshop is located in the main square of town. And Zuli often sends Enelia or her friend Kalina to check on him, coming up with some rather insignificant requests. She must really be happy about his progress. Enelia feels slightly envious. Is that all there was? Really? Zuli's favorite spot. She only gets up from the stable to go to sleep, and even then, sometimes she stays up at night. Running a large shelter is a daunting task, and yet Enelia feels a little sorry for the head caretaker. It is good to be useful to the community, no one argues, but not to such an extent. Such devotion won't do her any good, that's for sure.
Ты, кажется, торопилась куда-то.
И без тебя знаю, Шио. Всего вам хорошего, Зули. И спасибо за альбом.
Улыбка стеца, замаскированная ложь.
Enelia shushes her pet, and he hops down to the floor, clearly intending to stay at the shelter. Zuli mumbles something unintelligible in response, completely absorbed in her own affairs, and waves her hand in a vague gesture that could be considered a goodbye. With a sympathetic look, Enelia turns away and walks to the office door. She now has the sketchbook, which means she can begin the next phase of the plan. Druid Apprentice Rise waits for Enelia to bring him the crystals, and then they will escape this town. Together.
Приступим, наконец.
Episode 2, Madness Within. It's all so quiet and serene at Birth Lake. The people of Nauris often come down here from the city to gather resources they need, from the shore or the edge of the forest. Or sometimes simply to take a walk, to spend some time in silence and harmony with nature. Enelia used to wander a lot along the shore on the ground, studded with small stones, crystals, and shells, and admire the amazing scenery. However, not all corners of the lake are crowded, and this is one such corner. Only now Enelia feels uneasy, as she is about to have a very difficult conversation. Enelia's best friend and shelter roommate, Kalina, is standing by the shore of the lake. Enelia has come just to meet her. She has no secrets from Kalina. Well, almost. Looking at her friend, Enelia thinks she needs a little more time to gather her courage before an important conversation. The shining light of the entire Drew is its core. It is what illuminates the city and nourishes it with energy needed to sustain all life. The core extends upward all the way to the crown and goes down deep to the roots. Some believe it is the embodiment of the spirit of Holy Tanaria, but Enelia doesn't. Plant farms, the workplace of Zani farmers and herders. Fluffy, calm Kyrans are bred specifically for their fluff and nectar. The professions of herders and farmers are also considered the most peaceful and safe in Drew. Many people choose this work after the ritual. Enelia, however, is not drawn to it at all. The kids are all at a practice session with their caregiver. Enelia doesn't know them. Perhaps they came here from another shelter. It's hard to believe that Enelia was once so small and naive. Okay, Fabrice is silent. See, Zuli is the head of the Shelter of Leaves. Zuli has raised many young Zani for whom she has been a foster mother. Enelia loves and respects Zuli, but doesn't see her as a role model worthy of admiration. In her heart, Enelia misses the days when Zuli was a regular foster mom and had more free time. Shio, a cute Mytherium, Enelia's pet. To Enelia, he is both a loyal friend and companion, and conscious. Despite his adorable look, Shio considers him an adult and intelligent creature. She is serious and ironic, and is also very fond of various sayings. See, Shelter of Leaves, the place where Enelia lives. Right after birth, babies are taken to shelters, where they are cared for until they become adults. The children share bedrooms and go to classes together. The older ones do tasks for their teachers, learning about the world and gaining a better understanding of what they want to be when the time comes to leave the nest. Zuli is in charge of the Shelter of Leaves. Nauris, the city where Enelia was born, is located in the lower layers of Drew. At its base is the Lake of Birth, which gave life to all Zani. Everywhere in Nauris, from the main square to the farms, guilds, and shelters, you can see the temples of Holy Tanaria. It is its patroness and goddess. The ritual, one of the most important events in the life of a Zani. The ritual is a series of challenges that young Zani must complete to become adults. The ritual is not easy, but the young Zani are accompanied every step of the way by members of the Equilium, who provide support and order. After the ritual, the adult Zani choose their profession in Nauris and remain forever within the Drew. Holy Tanaria, guardian of the Lake of Birth, the great goddess who gave life to all the Zani that inhabit Nauris. Altars to Holy Tanaria grace every building in Nauris, and priests strive to hear her voice that flows through the Drew. Without exception, all Zani honor the covenants of the goddess and structure their lives accordingly. Druids, protectors, and explorers. If a young Zani displays special druidic abilities, he is taken from the shelter and passed on to a personal mentor. The druid can choose whether to train the next generations of apprentices and protect Nauris from within, or to go explore the hidden lands and protect the Drew from outside. The Lake of Birth, the lake from which all Zani of Nauris are born, is located at the base of the Drew, and through it, Holy Tanaria brings new life into the world. The mystery of birth is revealed only to the eyes of Mytheriums. As soon as the mist covers the water, all the Zani leave the lake so that the baby can emerge from the bud that brought it to the surface and be welcomed as it should. Zani, a race of sentient beings, the Zani dwell in the giant Drew, which they surround with care, receiving fruit and a safe place to live in return. Their main principle is to exist in harmony with nature. The main characteristic of Zani is the presence of a breeze, which allows them to feel the vibrations of all living things. The Zani also have 4 ears, one pair of which is only active in early childhood. Mytheriums, intelligent creatures that inhabit Drew. There are many Mytheriums that dwell near Zani and are a common and integral part of life. Some of them protect the Drew and Nauris. Some meet newly born Zani, and others are close friends of Zani. There are rumors that there are more Mytheriums outside the city, and not all of them are friendly. However, it's alright as long as they don't cross the borders of Nauris. Small bubbles appear on the surface of the water. It is evident that another Zani is about to be born. When the fog covers the water, everyone leaves the lake area. A flower bud will float to the surface and burst, landing on the shore. It must be a breathtaking sight indeed, but no one except Mytheriums has ever seen the birth of a new inhabitant of Nauris. No one except the Mytheriums, and Rise. But Enelia had promised her friend to keep this secret. Looks like the time to talk has come.
Энелия, что происходит? Я миллион каиронов насчитала. Подумала уже, что ты захотела сбежать, не попрощавшись.
В приюте возникли некоторые сложности. Пришлось поискать свой альбом.
Как можно было оставить мне такую записку? И цитирую, мы с Рейзом решили покинуть древо, встретимся у озера после того, как засияет сердцевина. Я чуть с ума не сошла, Энелия. Откуда у тебя вообще такие мысли?
Ты многого не понимаешь.
Ну, конечно, куда мне? Я всего лишь твоя лучшая подруга. С того самого момента, как мы появились на свет. Мы вроде как вместе мечтали повзрослеть, пройти ритуалы, выбрать себе чудесную профессию. Стать полноправными членами общины. Быть как все и быть счастливыми. Что вдруг изменилось?
Enelia is silent, not knowing how to say the reasons why she is going to leave Nauris could be dangerous, not only for herself, but also for Kalina. Her friend, however, interprets the silence differently, as always.
Ты просто сильно переживаешь из-за нашего ритуала, да? Потому что не определилась, кем хочешь стать. У нас еще целый год на принятие решения. Но даже если мы этого не сделаем, после ритуала члены Эквилиума сами определят нашу судьбу. Они добрые и мудрые. И подберут тебе хорошую профессию, Энелия. Ты в порядке?
Ничего, просто...
Просто скажи, как есть. Нечего стесняться. Ты далеко не первая, кто так волнуется из-за ритуала. Зули уже несколько раз мне говорила.
Ты обсуждала меня с Зули?
Я пытаюсь помочь. Мысль о том, что ты хочешь улизнуть из древа с недодруидом, просто отвратительно. Думаешь, я не замечала, как часто ты сбегала к нему по ночам?
Мы снова будем это обсуждать. И прекрати говорить о нем как о незнакомце. Он все-таки наш друг.
Не приведи святая Ветвианна, чтобы я водила с ним дружбу.
Что-то не припомню, чтобы ты отзывалась о нем так, пока его не забрали из приюта.
До появления его друидских способностей все было прекрасно. Они странные, Энелия. И не зря же отдалились от нормального общества. С друидами явно что-то не так, и нам тоже следует держаться подальше.
А ничего, что я тоже всегда хотела стать друидом.
Да-да, напомни, пожалуйста. Это было до того, как ты хотела стать травницей, мистиком, звездой мифириумов. И кем еще, напомни. Или уже после, а то я совсем запуталась. Ничего, что друидами могут быть только парни. Да и вообще, нельзя просто взять и стать друидом. И можно только родиться.
А вот и неправда. У каждого правила всегда есть исключение. В истории нашего города известны единичные случаи, когда девушки становились друидами. Конечно, это было очень давно, но я все равно намерена стать следующей.
И все же, пока это звучит очень несбыточно. Вот меня, например, Бун уже давно убедил стать художницей. И я абсолютно точно определилась в этом.
Да неужели? Определилась? Поэтому ты каждый день бегаешь на занятия танцами к той девушке-мистику?
Танцы — это просто детская мечта. Сложно приносить пользу общине какими-то танцульками. Зули любит постоянно напоминать мне об этом. И вообще, не переводи тему. Мы обсуждали твои дурацкие мечты, а не мои.
Рейс кое-что придумал. Что-то, что поможет мне обрести способности друида.
Энелия, ты сумасшедшая! Это не выход! Даже не все друиды способны покинуть древо. Это чрезвычайно опасно.
Hold on a minute. Okay.
Не проще ли пройти ритуал и...
Kalina hesitates, her words sparking an important idea. Her expression shifts from fearful to mocking, a sly squint in her eyes.
Дело не в ритуале вовсе, а в самом Рейзе? Ты думаешь о нем не совсем как о друге, так ведь?
Don't be ridiculous. No. And if so, then what? We'll just say no.
Нет! Вовсе нет!
Да, конечно. Вот теперь-то все понятно. Вообще, я никогда не понимала этого закона Эквилиума. Почему нам нельзя испытывать друг другу что-то, кроме чувства долга и дружбы? Мы все равно рождаемся из энергии древа. Какая им вообще разница?
Потому что все чувства, кроме дружбы и долга, отвлекают жителей от трудовых обязанностей. Мы должны приносить пользу городу, и большего от нас не требуется.
Да, это так глупо. И все же, это запрещено. Если о вас с Рейзом узнают члены совета, то...
Никто не узнает, Келина. Я уже сказала, дело не в этом. Рейз попросил меня найти кристаллы для своего изобретения. Поможешь мне? Я зарисовала в блокноте кристаллы, которые мне необходимо найти.
Crystals for Rise. Components required for Rise's invention. Search the shore and collect the crystals depicted in the sketchbook. Click on the matching crystals. Take your time. There's no time limit. To learn more about the crystals, click on the sketchbook. Okay. Sounds easy enough. Doesn't match any of these pictures. Oh, okay. It's very specific. Oh, that one doesn't match? Okay. I must be going crazy. Oh, the color's different. There. And there. And there. Nope. Thought they were trying to hide it on me. No, no. Here? Great.
Теперь у меня есть все кристаллы для нового
Hold on
изобретения
again.
Рейза.
Okay.
Именно оно поможет мне обрести способности друида.
Ох, Энелия. Ты говоришь, что дело не в ритуале и не в Рейзе. Так в чем тогда? Отчего ты решила сбежать?
Ладно. Помнишь, некоторое время назад Зули придумала для всех старших ребят из приюта особые задания? Чтобы мы могли познакомиться с тем, как устроены все профессии. Кажется, это было как раз год назад после прошлого ритуала.
Да, меня тогда отправили разгребать навоз за каиронами. Потом еще несколько недель не могла отмыть запах с рук.
Келина! Я пытаюсь рассказать тебе!
Молчу.
Так вот, меня Зули отправила в главный храм Святой Витвианы помочь жрецам с уборкой. В один из дней я задержалась слишком долго. Даже сердцевина уже угасла. И тогда
The curtains inside the temple suddenly opened. Enelia wasn't expecting anyone at this hour. She was quite surprised to see High Priest of Nauris with a girl from the shelter with whom Enelia had only spoken once or twice. The priest and his companion were talking, with their voices echoing off the high vaults. A ringing voice of the young girl, trembling with excitement and joy, blended with the priest's low and velvety baritone. The voice was too ingratiating to be easily believed. But Enelia's acquaintance believed it for some reason, as did everyone else.
Ты в самом деле хорошо прошла ритуал, Аза. Вполне достойно для того, чтобы быть принятой в моем храме. Можно только поздравить с такими блестящими результатами. Из тебя получится замечательная жрица.
Я буду рада служить в храме Святой Ветвианы, Верховный Жрец Салар.
О, и ты послужишь.
Oh boy.
Прекрасно послужишь. Аза.
The priest chuckled as if anticipating something only he could know about. And then... Oh, look at what is going on with this dude.
Нет, я не могу рассказать тебе.
Энелия, не бойся. Мы же с тобой друзья. В храме что-то произошло?
Аза, которая жила в нашем приюте. После прошлого ритуала ее назначили младшей жрицей Святой Ветвианы. С тех пор ее никто не видел.
И ты этого испугалась? Зуля же все рассказывала. Глупая Аза решила, что не справится с такой серьезной и ответственной работой. И прямо как ты, Энелия. Сейчас она, наверное, прячется где-то в глубине леса. Будто настоящий изгой. Неужели ты хочешь для себя такой же судьбы?
You don't know the whole truth.
Ты не знаешь всей правды. Аза не просто исчезла, Келина. Я видела своими глазами то, что жрец Салар сделал с ней.
The priest appears out of nowhere, like a black shadow. His eyes, piercing and prickly, stare into Enelia's face, trying to convince her of a terrible transgression. Had he heard any of the conversation as he silently crept towards her and Kalina? Because if he did, then...
О чем вы, юные Заани, тут секретничаете? Разве вам не пора готовиться к ритуалу?
Нам еще рано проходить ритуал, жрец Салар.
В этот раз мы снова будем просто зрителями, как и все.
Всего год остался, не так ли? И после вы тоже сможете начать приносить пользу обществу. Глава приюта ветвей подробно отчитывается мне о ваших успехах. Уже выбрали, кем хотите стать?
Я стану художником. Буду писать чудесные картины. И через них обращаться к Святой Ветвиане.
А я стану друидом.
The priest doesn't react to her friend's words. He is not interested in Kalina at all. The prickly and predatory eyes are fixed on Enelia with increased intensity, as if she is his most desired prey.
Остроумный ответ, Энелия. Я уже говорил ранее, из тебя получится замечательная жрица. И я уже посоветовал тебя на эту должность.
Это вовсе не обязательно.
Ну что ты? Принять тебя к себе в услужение — это будет честь для меня, Энелия. Ты могла бы заглянуть в храм чуть позже, если захочешь. Я бы тебе там все показал. Возможно, так ты больше заинтересуешься.
Yeah, no thanks, my friend.
У меня другие планы. Мне жаль, но...
Но мы уже договорились провести время до ритуала вместе.
Что ж, мое предложение останется в силе до начала ритуала. И я буду ждать тебя, Энелия.
Episode 3, Dark Secrets. The friends took the longest road possible from the lake to the city. The appearance of Priest Salar had them quite disturbed, and Kalina even came up with a new version, that Enelia decided to flee Nauris because of fearing Salar. In fact, she was. And now Kalina was afraid too, though she didn't know exactly what it was. However, Priest Salar was one of the most respected people in the settlement. Despite his young age, he was already High Priest of Holy Tenaria. The parishioners lined up to talk to him. Everyone trusts him without exception. Oh, if only they knew the truth. Without noticing it, over the conversations and anxious discussions, two friends walked out to the main square of Nauris. There are surprisingly few people in the square. The reason is, of course, the preparations for the ritual, which should take place in the late afternoon once the core has faded, and there is not much time left until then. But there is still so much to do. Finish decorating the streets, prepare the mind, tune into the right wave. To feel at ritual that wonderful feeling of unity, of belonging to a community, a commitment to the true faith that unites all adults. Enelia and Kalina can't understand that. Not yet. All they can do is pretend to prepare for the feast and run around doing all the adults' errands. You can't think of a more boring activity. Kalina stops in the middle of the square, as if she doesn't want to go back to the shelter of leaves either. Zuli is sure to have a lot of tasks for them to do, and they'll have to do them urgently, and preferably all at once. Enelia grins in understanding. There are plenty of places in Nauris where you can spend your time better.
Вы с этим уже решили, когда нам с тобой придется попрощаться?
Келина, говори тише! Точное время мы не обсуждали. Все зависит от кристаллов, которые я нашла у озера. Если они помогут...
То твоему другу еще нужно будет закончить свое изобретение, да?
Ему осталось совсем немного. Но я еще побуду здесь. День или два. И не уйду, не попрощавшись.
Да не грусти. Вдруг все вообще пойдет не так? Изобретение не сработает или еще что? Тогда и покидать нас не придется.
Спасибо, что беспокоишься обо мне, подруга.
Ну, конечно. Ведь помогать себе могут только сильные мальчики-друиды. А я так. Поплакаться в плечо, когда грустно и страшно. Не думала о том, чтобы решить проблемы без побега.
Thanks, girl.
Спасибо. Вот теперь-то точно об этом подумаю.
Ну и правильно. Так ты сейчас отправишься прямо к нему? Или, может, хочешь вернуться в приют и снова стать девочкой на побегушках у Зули?
В этот раз Зули придется найти кого-нибудь из малышни. Лично я по ее поручениям уже набегалась. У меня еще есть немного свободного времени.
Тогда пойдем со мной, навестим Буна. Он всегда такой забавный и отлично умеет поднять настроение. А его прекрасные картины... Глядя на них, я чувствую себя лучше. И ответы на сложные вопросы приходят сами собой.
Enelia shifts her gaze from unusually dreamy Kalina to the temple towering in front of them, and then to Boone's workshop in the distance. Maybe it's better for them to take a walk first. Go to the temple, go to the workshop, roam around Nauris. I guess we can go to the workshop.
Конечно. Давай заглянем к Буну. Но только если ненадолго.
Только для того, чтобы ты хоть как-то развеялась и перестала думать о плохом.
Let's see, we got new entries. We've got Boone, a talented young artist. The sweet and somewhat awkward Boone, constantly hanging out in his painting workshop. Their relationship with Enelia started with one of Zuli's errands and gradually grew into a friendship. Boone is always happy to see Enelia, also because Kalina always follows her around. Let's see, Kalina. Enelia's young and perky friend. Kalina has always been certain of what she wanted to do since she was a child, to pass the ritual and become a mystic. Like many other Zani, she dislikes the druids and does not want to know what lurks beyond the crown of the Drew, being satisfied with the traditional life of the settlement. Salar, the most respected high priest of Holy Tanaria. After returning from his secret travels, Salar has impressed the people of Nauris with his gift of healing and his ability to hear the voice of Tanaria. Enelia is the only one who has negative feelings about Salar. Sometimes she wants to believe that what she saw was just a bad dream. Kalina takes Enelia under her arm, and together they walk past the rows of market stalls, finding one rather poor-looking door. The friends have been to Boone's workshop so many times that finding the entrance on their own is no problem. Reaching out with her hand, Enelia pulls back the cloth and steps inside first. Kalina was right about the special atmosphere present in Boone's painting workshop. At one time, Enelia had also thought about becoming an artist. She liked to look at brushes, paints, and sketches. Creative mess where each thing was actually in its place, and Boone was never against it. He always welcomed visitors, even on an important and hectic day like this.
Ничего себе, кого я вижу? Я как раз думала... То есть, заходите, конечно.
Мы тоже рады тебя видеть, Бун. Как твоя картина?
Пока еще только-только приступил к работе. Намечаю фон, прислушиваясь к голосу святой Витвианы. Она подсказывает мне, как всегда.
Не прибедняйся, Бун. Твои картины прекрасны и без помощи Витвианы. Главный творец — это ты. Не забывай...
Спасибо, Келина. Мне было важно услышать такие слова. Особенно от тебя.
Boone blushes and looks away, as if realizing he said the wrong thing. Kalina's cheeks are visibly pink too, and it becomes clear why she was so eager to see her friend, and to think that she had the audacity to say something about Enelia, or to Enelia about Rise. Feelings other than friendship are forbidden in Nauris and all that. Enelia decided to quickly change the topic to break this awkward silence.
Я видела сегодня какую-то странную скульптуру в кабинете у Зули. Это ты ее сделал, Бун?
But the young artist closes himself even more from this mundane and generally simple question.
Да-да, то есть... Нет. Не совсем. Я имею в виду... Вы уже подготовились к сегодняшнему ритуалу?
И почему все об этом нас спрашивают?
Я-то не считал себя настолько банальным. Кто же меня опередил?
Зули, например.
Или жрец Салар.
О, так вы встречались с ним сегодня? Я частенько захожу в храм, когда работа не идет. И Салар всегда готов наставить своих прихожан на истинный путь. Он лично помог мне лучше слышать голос святой Витвианы. Вам стоит обязательно посетить хотя бы одну его проповедь. На них всегда собираются целые толпы.
Энелии сейчас точно не помешала бы помощь какого-нибудь мудрого наставника. Вот только Салар едва ли стал бы для нее.
Келина!
Я все еще имею в виду, что тебе пригодилась бы помощь друзей, а не каких-то там непонятных.
Enelia quickly glances at her friend, who almost gave away her secret, stopping her mid-sentence. Instead, she suggestively waved at her hand as if trying to signify the word druids went with it.
Конечно, Энелия, если тебя что-то беспокоит, то ты всегда можешь обратиться ко мне. К нам, точнее.
I'm trying to figure it out myself. Why should I even listen to you? Thank you for your support.
Спасибо вам за поддержку. Но я точно знаю, что делаю.
Ну, раз так, тогда вопрос закрыт. Да ведь, Бун?
Мы не настаиваем.
Может, расскажешь нам больше о своей работе, Бун? И о тех красках, что мы принесли тебе вчера. Зули говорила, что они были какими-то особенными.
Так и есть. Недавно на практическом занятии с младшей группой Зуле удалось отыскать в лесу новые растения, плоды которых способны вырабатывать краску. У меня в мастерской уже есть подобные, но...
Boone goes into a long discussion about plants, their properties, and their influence on different shades of paint. Suddenly, he doesn't seem awkward and embarrassed, as he always does when talking to girls. His voice transforms, being confident, and his eyes burn with genuine inspiration. He is in his element now, and Enelia becomes jealous again. If it wasn't for Solar, she might have been able to find her place in this city too. In a burst of enthusiasm, Boone grabs the first palette he sees and starts mixing colors on it to show how beautiful they can be. And then he offers his friends to try. Together they paint a blank canvas with bright colors. Enelia laughs as she watches Boone accidentally brush over Kalina's nose, and her friend tries to wipe the paint off her face without a mirror. The artist brushes again, and they all laugh together afterward. And even if it's just for a brief moment, Enelia's worries fades away and she forgets about her problems. She looks around the workshop, wanting to memorize how it looks. The same plants with paints that Boone told me about. When the fruits ripen, they fill up with a coloring substance. They have to be harvested in time to be processed in a special device before they overripe and burst. Judging by the stains on the floor, such troubles happen a lot. It's good that Boone gets help from the mytheriums that feed on the excess paint. The painting on which Boone has only recently started working. So far, you can only see the barely visible lines of a sketch. The artist has just started to consider the background. It's curious what it will look like when it's completed. Boone's finished works are hung on fancy mushrooms. It is possible to enjoy looking at them right here, but many Nauris residents would probably like to hang a couple of these paintings in their homes. They give off a special feeling, peaceful and sublime. That's what's connecting with Holy Tanaria does to creators. Plants with coloring fruits and mytheriums that love them a lot. Swaying in the drought, a curtain leads into some back room. For a brief moment, when it is raised, the indistinct glow of red light can be discerned behind it. And yet, Enelia can't help but keep looking at the doorway beyond which darkness lurks. She's drawn to peek behind the curtain, but Boone wouldn't appreciate that curiosity. What's the right thing to do? Stay in the workshop. Meanwhile, Boone applies the finishing touches, and their joint painting is complete. The artist puts down his brush and steps back a few steps, looking with pride at his finished work.
А ведь вышло неплохо. Вы так не думаете?
Вышло прекрасно, Бун.
Тебе особенно удался хризолитовый оттенок. В точности, как его иногда можно встретить в кристаллах на берегу озера. У тебя глаза настоящего художника, Келина.
Эй, а что насчет меня? Я тоже старалась.
Ну, да. И ты тоже. Конечно. Вышло неплохо. Да. Не хотите сегодня снова встретиться вечером, перед началом ритуала?
Это вряд ли. У меня еще есть дела.
Надеюсь, ты не опоздаешь, иначе Зуля опять рассердится. А вот я с удовольствием посмотрю на ритуал вместе с тобой, Бун.
The artist shyly looks away, just like a child. Boone doesn't look like he's been through his ritual. Bean doesn't look like he's been through his ritual 2 years ago. He looks as their coeval. Well, a very cute one.
Я постараюсь не опоздать.
Remembering her plans, her escape, and the journey ahead, Enelia heads out. The conversation with her friends has brightened her mood, but it couldn't solve all her problems, and the mystery that she couldn't tell anyone about was no less real. Only the druid's apprentice could help her. He and his amazing abilities, which made the people of the town shun all those like around him. Episode 4, Great Invention. The day was slowly turning into evening, and the light of the core was beginning to fade faintly. Enelia couldn't help but think about her talk with Kalina by the lake. Her friend was right about the druids. They lived far away from the main part of the city, at the very top of Nauris. And there are only uncharted and tangled paths above their dwellings leading upward to the crown of the Drew, where no Zani would dare venture, except for druids themselves, of course, and those who wished to be druids. Enelia stops, figuring out the way ahead. No matter how many times she visited Rise, it didn't make the journey to his home less difficult. His location was not chosen by chance. No one should interfere with the druids in their scientific research and experiments. And no one wants to visit them. Except for the animals, birds, and Mytheriums, of course. They're the only guests and neighbors here. Anxiety doesn't go away even after spending time with her friends, and Enelia wants to get rid of it in any way. Perhaps that's why Enelia chose the most dangerous road among all. She leaps over a cliff in her path, and her feet step on the hard surface. Her heart beats rapidly, trying to break out of her chest. But for some reason, Enelia feels better, and freezes in front of the entrance in her friend's laboratory, and knows that Rise, like all druids, protects it with special runes. Runes that no one can pass, but he made an exception for Enelia. Before Enelia can even touch them, she hears a familiar sound. Enelia sighs, realizing that the Mytherium has appeared again to convince her not to see Rise. But she feels sorry to send him away, and there's no time to argue. Enelia put the creature on her shoulder, and it tucked under her cloak as usual. Enelia quietly sneaks inside the lab, wanting to surprise her friend. Okay, why don't we stop it there. This is meowmurai. You've been watching Enelia, Dawn of Madness, running on PC. Yeah, so this is a visual novel. Obviously has a very intricate and original art style. I really like that a lot. The sound is really good too. The script, there's some English translation problems here and there. Not all the sentences quite have proper English or connotation. But it's still early in the game's development, and like I said, this is still technically early access, so the whole game isn't finished. This is a fantasy / horror visual novel. That we've got a little hints of what's going on kind of beyond the world that is available to the main characters, and just a hint of the more nightmarish imagery that is also present in the game. But we'll get there, and if you're interested yourself, then check out Steam and pick up the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.